Today, we're going to talk about Bitcoin. We'll discuss the level it just bounced from and what buyers have to do to push prices higher. And we'll also look at the RSI because it's doing something very similar to what it did in 2021. Now, if you guys are enjoying this content, be sure to subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon to get notifications because I am releasing these videos every day, Monday through Friday. Okay, so the Bitcoin daily time frame, guys, it just bounced from a level that I've had on my chart now for the past few weeks. So if you guys have seen my recent videos, you know about this channel, all the way up here at the November high. So we had this downtrend. We still have a downtrend, technically speaking. The market just tested the top of this channel, though, as new support. Okay, so we had the breakout back here. We had this kind of rounded retest, market tested 37,000 as new support, and we are seeing a nice bounce so far. Okay, so just in the past hour, if you look at the hourly chart here, you can see where the market tested this level to the T, okay, right on the dot. And the volume here is also looking really good so far, which you want to see at a turning point like this. Now, the thing is, though, you have to take this with a grain of salt because we can't ignore what just happened less than 24 hours ago, which was a weekly close below 39,600. So if we look at the weekly time frame, you can see that this is the range we've had for the past 14 months or so. And Bitcoin just closed below 39.6, which is really the bottom of this range below 40 to 42,000. Okay, so this has been a key factor for Bitcoin over the past 14 months. And you can see where yesterday, the weekly close closed right below this level. You can even see it on the daily time frame. We talked about this last week, but 39.6 was going to be key, and it still is key. So 39.6 was support back here. It was support on this candle, resistance here. We got the breakout back above it. It found support here for a couple of days, but then yesterday, which was a weekly close, closed back below 39,600. Okay, so what does Bitcoin have to do now to continue to push higher following this bounce here in the last hour? Buyers have to get back above 39,600 on a daily closing basis. That's it, guys. It's really, really simple. Without a close back above 39.6, this is going to continue to be resistance. And without a close back above it, we don't have confirmation that this down here is a false break, aka deviation, and that we're going to get a move higher. Okay, now if Bitcoin can close back above 39,600 on a daily closing basis, meaning 7 p.m. Eastern, all right, then I do think we're going to get a nice bullish move back toward 42 and probably 46, if not higher. Okay, but without that, this level down here remains in focus as support between $35,000 and $37,000. That is going to be the level to hold in order for this chart to stay constructive, because if it loses 35, then there's a very good chance we're going back toward 30,000, which we all know the significance of $30,000 Bitcoin. Okay, so this has been the range low for this market over the past 14 months. Now, while it could happen, I would prefer to see the market create a higher low here. Even though if we got to move down here toward 30, we would likely see a nice bounce from there. But a higher low in the market is always going to be more constructive. So what I would like to see right now is this right here be a higher low to these lows back here in July. And for this current low, okay, to be higher than this one at 33. So you have this kind of series of higher lows forming, and that would be bullish for the market. Now, as I said, though, 39.6 is going to be the hinge for all of this. Okay, so if we see it close back above 39.6, then there is a very good chance that this right here, okay, this low is going to be a higher low than the one at 33,000, in which case, like I said, I think we do get that push back toward 46,000 and probably higher. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the RSI here because it is doing something very similar to what we saw in 2021. So we've discussed this before. In fact, we discussed this before Bitcoin actually broke out. So right back here, when the market was trading in this consolidation zone, we talked about this RSI breakout, this potential breakout, and how it was doing something very similar to what we saw in 2021. Okay, so you can see here on the RSI that during this run up here from Bitcoin and this pullback, we had the RSI forming these lower highs into consolidation, and we had this nice trend line that had formed. Okay, now this right here was technically bearish divergence as the market was making higher highs, and then we got the breakout. So this breakout occurred when the price was right through here, So you can see how it triggered a nice breakout from the price as well, or at least signaled that a breakout was coming. But like I've said in the past, guys, indicators like this can be helpful, but price action is always going to trump any indicator you use. Okay, so price action is the number one indicator. Everything else like RSI takes a back seat. Now, with that said, okay, if we look at the RSI, you can see that it's doing something very similar to what we saw in 2021. So we had this consolidation here, and over the past few months, we've seen this consolidation from the RSI. So once again, we have a trend line here that's formed, and we had a recent breakout. Now, this breakout coincided with the market getting back above $40,000. Okay, so right now, what I'm looking at is this. If we see the market do something similar to what it did in 2021 with this breakout, you can see where the low on the RSI here, okay, was pretty much an equal low this time. So what I'm referring to is this low on the RSI is very close to this one back here from last year. Okay, so if we then take this low right here on the RSI and compare it to what's happening right now, all right, you're going to notice that it's also very close. Okay, so it's not quite there yet, but it is very close. So if this is going to play out the same way, and once again, guys, this is all very speculative, and it is the RSI, it's an indicator, it's not price action, so it is secondary to anything that occurs in the actual price. But if the market were to do something similar, then it could be very close to bottoming following that breakout. Okay, so last year we saw the breakout from the RSI, it moved up, consolidated, retested this area, and then this right here was the bottom. Okay, when the RSI bottomed here, price bottomed here, and we got that nice move up from Bitcoin. So the question now is, are we going to see something similar where the RSI bottoms here, and then we get a nice move up from price, just like we did back here? But once again, with all of that said, guys, it all comes down to the price action and the daily closes here. Okay, so even though the RSI looks constructive, it really just comes down to, can the market, okay, close back above 39,600 in order to confirm that this was a false break and really push, that move higher up toward 42 and 46. Okay, so the RSI looks good. We got the bounce from this trend line here. 35 to 37 is still intact, but we need to see that reclaim of 39,600 in order to confirm that move higher. Now, one last thing too, I know a lot of people are looking at this inverse head and shoulders here, or potential inverse head and shoulders that could be forming. And, look, guys, it could play out. The one thing I will say about a pattern like this that is this obvious is that a lot of times they do fail, or at least they don't play out exactly as expected, because the entire market's looking at it and it's almost too obvious, right? With that said, just to kind of, give you guys some info on this, if you are paying attention to this, what you would want to look for is not only a break above 46,000, which personally I think that would do it, because 46.2 is actually the yearly open for Bitcoin. Okay, so this trend line up here is pretty close to that level. But what you would want to see is a break above this neckline up here around 46 to 47,000. Okay, and then from there, you'd be looking at a move up toward 50 to 53. And the objective for something like this, the way you come up with that, is you measure from the low of the pattern up to the neckline. And in this case, you get about $12,000 or 36%. And if you then measure to a higher point in the market from that neckline or from that potential breakout point, okay, so measuring higher from here up $12,000, you get an area right around $58,000, maybe $59,000, which is very close to 60,000. Okay, so 60,000 has been a key factor for Bitcoin in the past. So notice back here, all right, this area through here served as support and it then served as resistance. So, 60,000 is a big level in the market. And the objective does point up to that area. But like I said though, guys, a lot of times these patterns are almost too obvious to play out exactly as expected. It's never quite that easy. But, the bottom line, guys, the key takeaway from this video is really 39,600. That is the level to reclaim as new support once again. If we did that and we erased Sunday's candle, then there's a very good chance that this down here is the false break. And like I've said before, a false break to one side of a key level like this often triggers an extended move in the opposite direction. So close above 39.6 And I do think we get that extended move back toward 46 and then much higher than that, probably up toward 50 to 53,000, which I've continued to think we get a retest of that area before we really see Bitcoin make a decision here in the market, because I've kind of maintained that that is the level that is going to dictate where we go later this year. All right, so you can see that 50 to 53 was resistance, support through here, support once again, and resistance once again. So this area has yet to be tested as new resistance. So I think that's something that, it's just my opinion. I could be totally wrong on this, but I do think we get a test there at some point this year in order to kind of determine whether Bitcoin is going to move higher than that, make new all-time highs, or if we get a lower macro high from there, and then we go down and test 30,000, etc. All right, guys. So, right now the market is at support. One last thing, if you are looking for a higher conviction play, okay, not financial advice, but instead of trying to be the hero and trying to determine if this is the low down here, or if we get a wick down here and buying at, 36 or 35, the better way to do this, again, not financial advice, just my opinion, the higher conviction play here is to wait for a reclaim of 39,600. Okay. Because then you can have your stop down here. You have a very logical place to put your stop. And it's also a much higher conviction play, because instead of just trying to catch the bottom or what you think is the bottom, you're waiting for the market to prove that this down here was a false break and reclaim that key level. Okay, so that's a much better way to play these things instead of just always trying to be the hero and trying to buy what you think is the bottom. All right, guys, so I hope that this video has helped. If it did, be sure to subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon to get notifications, smash that like button, and leave your comment below. I will talk to you guys again soon.